Hello, Artful Manifestors. Thank you for joining me today for this timeless pick a card tarot reading. Whenever you come across this reading is when you're meant to hear it. I always align my intentions for your highest and best good. To choose your reading, you're going to choose from one of these three crystals that I'm going to introduce or one of the cards I'm about to reveal. And then in the description box, you'll find a link to all the readings, as well as a list of all the cards that I use during this reading. All right, for reading number 1, we have blue Apatite. And for reading number 2, we have green Moonstone. And for reading number 3, Garnet. Any noises you hear in the background are the dogs. That's actually Cleo. You can see pictures of them on my Instagram. All right, for reading number 1, this is the image. And for reading number 2, this is the image. And for reading number 3, this is the image. All right, let your intuition, your inner wisdom guide you. Whichever crystal or card you're most drawn to is most likely the reading meant for you. Of course, if you're drawn to more than one or even all three, then please feel free to listen to more than one, as there may be additional guidance for you there. Enjoy your reading. Hello, reading number 1. You chose this image, winter. We see a wolf here. It says, take care of your needs. And perhaps the season that you're in right now is the winter season, a time of kind of a hibernation, rest. Think of what the plants and trees go through, some animals go through during the winter, where they will take time to do things that aren't seen, for example, like a tree or a plant who seems to be going dormant during the winter season, but perhaps there's still something going on below the surface. And that's what's happening for you. If you're drawn to this reading, this is a time to take care of your needs and to connect with that. I'm also hearing lone wolf, and it's okay sometimes to be the lone wolf in order to take care of our needs. The crystal that you chose is the blue Apatite, which is sometimes called the dream stone because it sharpens psychic perception and helps you receive clearer messages from guides, ancestors, and even your own higher self. It aligns with the third eye and throat chakra, opening intuition and giving voice to what you perceive beyond the veil. It helps you embody truth because it's strongly connected to the throat chakra. It helps you speak your truth, speaking it with compassion and confidence. It harmonizes communication between the heart, mind, and spirit, so your words become an authentic reflection of your soul. So perhaps you're needing to take time for yourself and take care of yourself, but you're having trouble speaking that truth. Blue Apatite is healing and it helps to clear energies. It has a purifying kind of, when you sweep a room, what the energy feels like, that's what blue apatite can do for you, is it just clears away. It's like a refresh. It just freshens the air, refreshes your energy. So it's good to clear away any kind of energetic debris or stagnant thought forms that keep the spirit heavy. It encourages release of fear-based attachments, allowing the aura to feel lighter, fresher, more aligned. It also stirs creative expression and clears blockages to motivation, especially when you feel dulled or directionless, if that's a word. It's spiritually, it's a catalyst. It reminds you of your soul's mission and reignites the spark to walk that path with clarity. And it can act as a bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind, helping you see patterns in your own life and in the collective and transform them into wisdom. And it reminds me of a video I saw recently. I'm trying to remember the name of the scientist who spoke about, and maybe you've heard this before, that most of what we do comes from, 5% of what we do comes from our conscious mind, and 95% of it comes from our subconscious mind. So there's a message here about tapping into that subconscious. The blue apatite, is also useful for meditation and dream work. So something about tapping into the subconscious mind. Think placebo effect. What you believe is what you create in your reality. All right, let's get some tarot cards and find out more about this. All right, we have the Magician. Four of Cups and Five of Pentacles. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud. I was like receiving, and so just there in my head and not speaking to you. All right. Let's see what we have. All right, reading number one. I love your reading. I love your cards. The first question I'm asking that we got the Magician for, and it came out in reverse, is what truth do you need to speak about your needs? And normally the Magician is about feeling empowered and resourceful. When it's in reverse, then it's the opposite. It's feeling disempowered and feeling like you don't have resources. And so the truth that you need to speak is that you do have power and resources. This is one of those conundrums that people get stuck in where they say, how can I say that I have money when I look at my bank account and I don't see money? Start with the evidence of smaller things, perhaps. And if you can't say that you have money, then at least stop saying that you don't. Because you are a magician and the words that you speak are spells, and what you say creates your reality. What you believe, what you feel, what you think, what you speak, it's all connected. All of it. What you believe is what you believe is the wands. It's all here. I might say it out of order. What you feel for sure is your water. It's interesting. It's backwards to me, but that is very Wicca. Is sometimes the wands were air and the swords were fire, and I'm used to it being the other way around. But in any case, we can look at the element of fire as kind of your spirit, and the element of water as your emotion, what you feel. And this is the element of earth and the element of air. So what you speak, what you feel, what you believe, and what you do. All right. It's all there, and it's creating your reality. You combine all the elements together. That's the magic, and it creates your reality. So if you are naming things that go wrong, and you're having feelings about those things, and you're believing that things go wrong in your life, then you are perpetuating that cycle. So if it's too much to just say, oh, things are going right, when they actually aren't, you don't have evidence of that, then the first step you can do is to at least stop saying that things are going wrong. Stop naming all the things that you observe that you don't want in your reality. Where the attention goes, the energy flows. And it's so interesting that we have the Four of Cups next, because look, it looks the same, reversed or upright. And the question I was asking for the Four of Cups was, how can you use your subconscious mind to create the reality that you want? And we see it's the same. It's what it's saying is, the Four of Cups is like apathy, right? The energy, the quantum field that you tap into with your emotions, your beliefs, your thoughts, your words, it's neutral, it's impartial. You could say that it has apathy. It doesn't really care one way or the other, just like your computer doesn't care. You give your computer an instruction, it's going to follow that instruction. It doesn't judge your instruction and say, well, that's not really what I know. She says she wants this, but that's not exactly what she wants. She actually means this. It's going to do exactly what you tell it to do. And it's the same with the quantum field. So it doesn't matter if it's from your from your perspective, if it's good or bad, desirable or undesirable, positive or negative. The quantum field's just going to give you whatever you put out there, it's going to give you more. And so you want to begin to use that to your advantage. So your subconscious mind might be looping these beliefs. What needs to change are beliefs. And where do beliefs come from? Our thoughts, right? You have a thought, and the more that you think that thought, then it becomes a belief. And so that is the whole placebo effect right there, is belief. So if you are told by a doctor that you trust or healthcare professional that you trust that taking this pill is going to make you feel better, and then you take that pill, even if it's just sugar, you don't know it's sugar, you just trust the doctor, you just trust the healing powers of that pill, then you're going to feel better. So what that tells us is that the pill didn't make you feel better. Your belief made you feel better. And that's what Spirit wants you to know right now, is that your belief is what's going to change your reality. So stop saying things that you don't want. Stop talking about things that go wrong. So if you wake up late, if you get in traffic, if somebody cuts you off and you don't like those things, then don't get to work and talk about those things, because you're giving attention to the things that you don't want to create. But it's like a garden. The quantum field is like soil, and you are watering the weeds every time you talk about things that you don't actually want in your reality. Just don't talk about it. The next step is to create new beliefs. All right? And I've said this before, a really good thing to say is, when something doesn't go your way, something isn't the way you thought it was going to be, maybe your automatic go-to response is disappointment or frustration. Catch it before you catch it in those very first seconds, as soon as it happens, and say, just take a deep breath and say, let's see what good comes out of this, and then just let it go. You don't have to believe anything other than just, let's see what good comes out of this. Just practice saying that every time you wake up late. Take a deep breath. Let's see what good comes out of this. And just keep practicing that. And it's going to shift your whole reality. And little by little, you're going to notice less and less undesirable things happen. And then that's going to be a doorway that opens for you to start practicing saying things like, you know what? This actually worked out in my favor last time. So I'm just going to trust that something good is going to come out of this, and something's going to work in my favor this time. It's going to flip it for you, right? It's the same either way. It's up to you what seeds you plant. Do you want to cultivate, water, and nurture the weeds? Or do you want to cultivate and water those magical plants and flowers? And then I love this Five of Pentacles cup, because what you see, we don't have a Four of Pentacles here, but if we had a Four of Pentacles, it might look something like somebody guarding their pentacles. Maybe they have it in a piggy bank like this. Maybe this was the piggy bank. And then here we have the Five of Pentacles where it's broken open. It's like you're not saving it anymore. They're telling me if you save for a rainy day, then that rainy day will surely come. It's like somebody's like, well, I better save this just in case something bad happens, just in case I need it. That is planting weeds. That is telling the quantum field that you want something bad to happen so that you can use up what you've been saving. So if that's ever happened to you, that is the situation that you're creating. So with it cracked open, you're actually losing the experience of scarcity and abandonment, loneliness. You're cracking it open. You're liberating yourself from this suffering. When you speak your truth, then the loneliness, the scarcity begins to dissolve. And your truth isn't the bad things that have happened. Your truth, what the universe wants you to know your truth is the good things that you want to happen, the reality that you want to create. That is your truth. When you start practicing speaking that truth, the truth that you want, you rewire your subconscious mind, you shift your inner focus, you stop feeding the story of, I don't have enough, and you begin writing a story of being provided for, supported, and seen. This card often carries a hidden promise that support, whether it's divine or earthly, shows up once you allow yourself to reach for it. And the way to reach for it is to, as much as you can, avoid speaking about things that you don't want or like or have experienced and don't want to repeat. And show gratitude, show curiosity, be thankful for the things that you do like that are showing up in your life. Talk about that. And when something happens that normally you would complain about, catch yourself and say, let's see what good comes out of this. And that is just going to shift everything. The old feelings of scarcity lose their grip. You're going to discover allies, resources, synchronicities that are always nearby, always there just at the right time in the right place. And speaking your truth becomes the bridge from isolation to connection, from lack to abundance. Reading number 1. I'm so excited for you. What a powerful reading. Please let me know what you think, what you feel about this, what resonates, and I'm wishing you the best. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you. Bye. Hello, reading number 2. You chose Stag, Trust, and Thrive. And you also chose the green Moonstone. Whoop. And so I love that you got the green in Moonstone, and then we have green here. So I see growth, thrive. I see something wanting to grow in your life. And look at these 3 spirals. This is body, mind, and spirit, maiden, mother, crone. And we go through different seasons. You can call them cycles, right? Just like the winter cycles back around every year, spring does, summer, and so on. But it is like this spiral. So that even though we're passing through a season we've passed through before, We're doing it at a higher elevation, higher frequency, and we're expanding. So that's why we see the spiral. It's not a perfect circle, but it keeps expanding. So we do go through the same kind of seasons, but we're expanding. So that's what they're telling me to share with you. All right. The green moonstone attunes you to the rhythms of the moon. So again, cycles, helping you move with cycles of growth, release, and renewal. And right now, this is a cycle of growth for you. Think of spring. The green hue roots this lunar energy into the heart and the earth, making it especially powerful for healing ancestral lines, feminine wounds, emotional patterns tied to the body. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, we all have masculine and feminine energy, and you can have a feminine wound even if you're a man. Green moonstone is a balm for the heart chakra. It eases grief, it calms emotional turbulence, and it opens space for compassion. It teaches emotional balance by flowing with feelings rather than suppressing them. It honors the rise and fall, like the tides that the moon creates. And it sharpens intuition. It helps with dream recall, helping you receive guidance from the subconscious and the spirit world. Its vibration is gentler than labradorite or amethyst. It's more like little whispers and nudges instead of lightning bolts. But it steadies and deepens your intuitive flow. Traditionally, the green moonstone was used as a way to support fertility, pregnancy, childbirth, as well as the birth of new projects and identities, which goes perfectly with this thrive and spring energy, growth. I'm hearing new beginnings. It supports renewal after endings, allowing you to trust the cycles of death and rebirth. And it teaches to soften is to grow. You know, it's as we go through these seasons, these cycles, we are a little more mature, we have more experience, more understanding, so we don't experience them in the same way. We have a new perspective. We're wiser. And we have more resilience. Yeah. Its gift is reminding you that true spiritual strength is resilient through surrender, through knowing and understanding, just like the earth endures seasons. All right. Let's get some tarot cards and find out more about what area of your life you are growing, where you're beginning to thrive, and any guidance that Spirit has for you at this time about how to best utilize this energy. All right, you have the Three of Swords. The Hanged One. And the Champion of Cups. All right. So the first question is, what area in, in what area of your life are you experiencing growth? And we get the Three of Swords, which may at first seem like that doesn't seem like a good card, but it's actually a great card to get an answer to that question, because it means that the area of your life undergoing growth is your relationship to grief, to heartbreak, to emotional truth. So, old wounds, betrayals, unspoken sorrows. It's not just that they're, you know, coming back so you can suffer them, they're being cleared for healing. So, Spirit shows you are in a cycle of learning how to let the mind and heart work together so that pain becomes wisdom instead of stagnation. This is that emotional maturity that I was talking about. You're learning to sit with discomfort without shutting down or masking it. It's, when we experience our emotions, they're not there to make us suffer. That's not the point. The point is to invite us to do something about that suffering. So sometimes pain reveals where we've silenced ourselves. And in that case, growth would mean claiming your truth in love, even if it feels a little vulnerable or raw. And with these swords piercing through the heart, what that shows is the mental stories of self-blame, regret, I should have, I wish I would have. Those are being dissolved so the heart can breathe again. This is freedom from old patterns. A heart more open, more resilient, and compassionate. And at the same time, you're going to be able to have clearer boundaries that are rooted in self-respect and a new ability to weave past heartbreaks, past pains, sorrow into wisdom for your path forward. It's like I see these green shoots of growth coming out of your heart, like your heart itself is growing. These swords are dissolving, and in its place, there's new life taking root and growing. And the Hanged One is how you nurture this growth. It's the great initiator of surrender. So the way that you nurture your growth through the heartbreak of the Three of Swords is not trying to avoid it or fix it, but to pause, to soften, and to see with a new perspective. Look at the eye here. You're seeing things in a different way. You're seeing it in a new light, from a different angle. I heard this thing, I saw this video and heard this really great thing about how our anxiety is a gateway. And so if you can begin to see your emotions as an invitation, as a portal, as a gateway to something new, that's where this growth, that's how you can nurture this growth. Allowing yourself to stop struggling against the pain and instead lean into what it teaches. It's like, let's say something, you're standing there and some big heavy rock falls and lands on your foot and it hurts. And your foot can't get out from underneath that heavy rock and you're struggling, and all that struggling is causing more damage to the tissue and causing more pain. And then finally, you stop struggling. You breathe. You look at it from a different angle. And you realize that you have this big stick that you can put underneath the rock and lift it off. And that's the kind of energy that I see, is that when you pause and you look at it from a different angle, when you don't look at the emotion of itself as an enemy, but that it's giving you information, and then you move into a creative space, meaning creative problem solving, that's when the breakthrough happens. That's how you nurture this growth. That's how you go through these seasons and you begin to see, in the center, it's like each one of these is a different heartbreak, different wound, okay? And in the center, it was very painful. But then you got some distance from it, some time from it, so that the next time something similar happened, it still hurt a lot, but not as much. And then you come back around and then that thing happens again. And you know what? It almost seems like a habit that it should hurt. So I want to say that it hurts, but it actually doesn't hurt. And eventually it's like, oh, that thing. Yeah, that doesn't bother me. That's what's happening to you. You're getting this emotional maturity. You're seeing things from a different perspective in a new way. You're seeing your emotions in a new way. Your emotions aren't there to punish you. They're there to communicate, hey, there's a rock on your foot. How can you take that off with the least amount of damage? And it helps you to let go of these old mental loops of blame or what could have been or resentment, these old stories, trusting that there's a greater pattern, a greater divine design, and know that this is part of your soul's larger weaving. And anything that seems like a pause is actually the seed getting ready to burst open and grow. So you want to stop pouring your energy into resistance. Take a breath, pause, look at it from a different perspective, and see that discomfort as a doorway, as a gateway, as an opportunity to make a positive change that leads to growth. And the Champion of Cups is like the Knight of Cups. When you honor your emotions as thresholds instead of burdens, you embody the Champion of Cups. You become someone who can move through life guided by emotional truth, carrying the heart as a compass rather than a weight. So you see the emotions as a tool, not a burden. The Champion of Cups goes forward with the bravery to remain open-hearted in motion. And you channel emotions into expression, art, love, healing, spiritual connection, dancing, singing, making music. Your emotions become rivers carrying you to new places. And again, I'm hearing emotional mastery through movement. So instead of stagnating in sorrow or longing, your emotions become energy in motion, guiding you through the gateway into higher states of love and creativity. And this pause isn't about stagnation. It's about stopping that instinct to resist, breathing and leaning into it and being curious and saying, what is this emotion showing me? And seeing it from a new perspective. And then moving forward, moving through it with that wisdom and maturity. The Champion of Cups is the seeker of visions and dreams and synchronicities. By trusting your emotions as gateways, your inner sight sharpens, your inner wisdom strengthens, and your relationship with spirit deepens. This outcome softens you into a more compassionate, empathetic self, one who knows how to hold others' hearts because you've crossed the thresholds of your own. Wow. So beautiful. And I'm hearing that your tears are watering the seeds of your growth. How beautiful. Reading number 2. Please let me know if this resonates, what you think. I love to read your comments, and I'm wishing you the best. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you. Bye. Hello, reading number 3. You chose the card Dream and Journey, Drum. And this is about your dreams coming true. If you saw my last reading and you chose the reading where I talked about getting your higher self to show you a yes, and then asking, should I wear this? Yes or no? Is this in my highest and best good? If you did it, you know what I'm talking about. This is the same thing. This card literally talks about going within, connecting with yourself, and asking what you should do next, and then doing it, following through with action. So, coming up with your dream, asking your own inner wisdom, your own higher self, your intuition, how to realize that dream, how to make it a reality, and then following through with action. All right, and the crystal that you chose is the Garnet, which awakens Kundalini energy. It's invigorating for the body and spirit. It replenishes depleted energy, restoring vitality after times of fatigue, illness, or emotional heaviness. Spiritually, it's like warm blood returning to your numb limbs. It reminds you that you are alive. It resonates with the root chakra, strengthening your connection to the earth and to your physical body. It's grounding, it's stabilizing, it offers safety and a sense of rootedness. Even after you feel like life has been chaotic or transitions have uprooted you, Garnet has long been a stone of love, not only romantic, but the deep love of life itself. It intensifies devotion and commitment, whether it's to a partner, a creative calling, a spiritual path. It clears blockages around intimacy, helping you open to give and receive love without fear. It offers protection and courage. Ancient warriors used to carry it as a protective amulet, as did travelers. Spiritually, it strengthens courage in the face of shadow work, helping you confront fears without losing heart. And Garnet is a stone of rebirth. Its fiery energy helps burn away old patterns, attachments, and limitations, creating fertile ground for renewal. It's especially powerful for those in that transition, moving from one chapter of life to another, giving you protection and momentum for the journey. And this is what you're on, a journey to create the life that you want. Death. The world. Oh, okay. Ten of Swords. Wow, I feel like these two cards came out last time. I don't know if they were in the same reading or not, but very interesting. If they were and you got it, let me know. Wow. All right, such interesting responses today for the questions being asked. The first question I asked was, how can you restore your vitality? And we get the Death card, which seems counterintuitive, but it actually makes sense because it's about clearing, detoxing, letting go, releasing. It's allowing a full release, endings, and transformation. Remember that death, look at this, it's a doorway. It's not the end. We see this doorway here. It's your vitality returns through release, releasing old attachments, old identities, old habits, or burdens that you've been carrying that are actually siphoning your life force. To restore your life force and your vitality, you're going to shed these things completely, just like a snake sheds its skin. And remember that vitality, creativity, feelings, they're all impermanent, right? It's cyclical. And this is why we go to sleep. Every day we go through this cycle where we go to sleep and we wake up. So it's not a constant feeling like an energized bunny with fresh batteries. It's honoring that season of death, of letting go, making space for new things to be born. At the end of a season, when things go fallow, when we cut down the old growth that's not producing anymore and let it be composted for the next season. So the vitality is the rebirth, the fire that burns and becomes the warmth that ignites your new spirit. So the fire burns the old, and it becomes the warmth that ignites the new spirit. That's what I wanted to say. So your vitality with death as your medicine, something you can do like a little ritual is to write down anything that feels heavy, stagnant, or lifeless in your life. Habits, attachments, identities, burdens. Burn it, write it down, burn it, bury it, or let the water carry it away, or the wind. Do the same thing with your body. Any kind of detox, drinking the right kind of teas, doing lymphatic movement and massage, taking baths, drumming. One thing that my partner and I do is we do this thing called a drum shower, where we'll have a person standing between us, and he and I both have a big drum, and we will put the back side of the drum where we hold with our hand to that person, and he'll be in the back, I'll be in the front, or vice versa, and in unison we hit the drum, and that reverberation breaks up all that stagnant old energy. If you can take it, do something like that, even if it's just one drum and you're doing it for yourself, or if it's turning the radio up loud with that kind of shamanic drum beat, or the earth's, heartbeat to clear your energy, standing on the ground barefoot, taking an Epsom salt bath, doing something to cleanse your energy. Recognize that if you're feeling tired, that's not because you're lazy or a failure. It's your body and your spirit telling you something, and that this is an initiation. And by stepping fully into this doorway of the death card, you prepare for a rebirth. Look at this. There's another door in this card. I love that. So each time you let something die, an old story, a drained relationship, an outdated belief or thought pattern or behavior, then you call your power back. Your vitality is restored. Not by doing, but by undoing, a sacred undoing. And if there's a specific belief that you must lay to rest so that your energy can rise again, it's the World card, which again seems kind of counterintuitive. But what is the world? The world is completion, it's wholeness, it's the great circle fulfilled. So this being a belief to release, it suggests that some part of you is clinging to this idea that you must be finished and perfected and whole before you can live fully. It's like you're delaying your happiness until you complete something or until you feel like you're complete. Like you have this idea that you aren't complete. And so that's what you're being invited to let go of. That idea that you must reach a state of ultimate accomplishment, harmony, or closure before you get to deserve rest or love or vitality or fulfillment. That your journey should look complete in a worldly sense, so that it should be tidy or celebrated, wrapped up in a bow, right? Before you're allowed to claim your energy and joy. And this belief keeps you looping, always striving. It's like that carrot on a stick that you're never going to reach. You're always striving for the moment when you'll finally arrive. But as you're moving, that target is moving too, and it always stays the same distance from you. So instead of receiving the energy available here and now, you're just chasing. So your vitality depends on being complete is what you want to lay to rest. That idea, the idea that you can, okay, so what they're showing me is you can invite this practice into your life by saying, they're showing me somebody who's like, well, I can't sit down yet because I haven't finished folding these clothes. You know, even though your body's like, I just want to sit down for a minute, you're not honoring what your body and your intuition are telling you, and you're working past it and it's draining you. So this is just an example of how you can invite this new energy into your life. And we talked about a snake shedding its skin, and there's a snake in this card. So, you know, maybe you almost finish your clothes and you're like, you know what? I feel like I want to rest. Set your timer for 5 minutes and rest, and then go back to the clothes. It's not about just leaving it, but maybe it can wait 5 minutes while you rest. And maybe it doesn't have to be perfect. So instead of spending so much time and energy and trying to make something perfect, if it's not something that truly has to be perfect, then just let it be imperfect so that you can save yourself some time and energy and frustration. And energy returns when you stop trying to hold the circle closed and allow it to just keep turning. When you release this belief that you have to be perfect or whole or complete, like somebody who thinks they don't deserve it until they get that degree, or they don't deserve it until they get that promotion. Oops, sorry, talking with my hands too much. You're delaying your fulfillment, your happiness. So release these beliefs about yourself. Your energy will no longer be drained by this chasing, this striving for that final wholeness. And you can celebrate, you know what? You can celebrate each step along the way. It's like you're not allowing yourself to celebrate until you get to the top and go through this magical door that you think exists. Instead, celebrate every single step of the way, every tiny little milestone, every tiny little task. And when you get through that threshold, that door, it will be magical because you're building up this energy, just like this Kundalini. You're building up this energy by celebrating every step of the way. And the 10 of Swords, the question I asked was, what would it feel like to live as though wholeness is already within you rather than something to chase it? And we get the 10 of Swords. So again, at first glance, it seems like this is devastating, an ending, an exhaustion, a collapse. But in the deeper layers, it reveals liberation. So to live as though wholeness is already within you would feel like the death of a struggle. The endless striving, the belief you must fight and bleed your way to wholeness, it collapses finally. It's an ego death of the story of lack. The swords represent the mental beliefs piercing you. When you stop chasing wholeness, those old stories lose their hold and they just disappear. They vanish. They dissolve. It might feel at first like defeat because it's new, different, uncomfortable. If I don't keep trying to do this, then what's left of me? But in truth, it's spaciousness, a chance to rise unburdened, like a new day, like dawn breaking after a long night. And the 10 of Swords marks the end, right? It's the final breath of an old way of being. When you live as though you already are whole, you allow those old identities built on being broken or being the belief that you need to fix yourself. You allow those ideas to die. That's what this death is. And I love that it goes like in a whole, we come back to the death in this final card. And I see you doing this because it is all of these cards are a completion, okay? Death, that's the end, right? Something is ending. The world, that is completing something. Something is ending. The 10 of Swords, it's the 10. That means completion. So you are definitely putting these things to rest. Congratulations, you're doing it. You're completing it. You're getting past this, getting over the hump. You discover that the end, quote unquote, you feared was only the release of suffering. That's what's ending. And now you get to have the beginning of something freer, something lighter, something truer. It's like you're setting down a heavy burden that you've carried way too long. And your awareness that wholeness was always there, that you were always enough, that you don't need to be fixed, that you don't need to be better, that you already are whole. Maybe even saying an affirmation every morning about being whole, being exactly who you're supposed to be. You are exactly who you are supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. And when you consciously let go of what's draining you, these beliefs that you're not enough, and you let that become the compost for your dreams, and you stop waiting for the perfect moment or for you to be perfect or for the conditions to be perfect, you begin knowing that you're already whole. You let these old ideas, these old identities die, and that ending is a doorway to a new beginning. And your dreams become reality when you stop trying to build them from a place of lack and instead allow them to emerge from your inherent wholeness. Freed by these burdens, these beliefs. Reading number 3, this is so powerful. So many endings, but they're all good. And these endings are the compost, just like these mushrooms, for the next chapter, the next beginning, where you get to go within, ask what you really want, and then take steps to achieve it, and you do. I see your dreams coming true. Please let me know if this resonates. Let me know what you think. I love reading your comments, and I'm wishing you the best. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you. Bye.